All right, one more game today, the third day of the Scrabble Players Championship. And for the first time in several rounds, we have a new first place player. Jackson Smiley hanging on to first place for a long time, but a run of a couple unfortunate games. And Josh Sokol now in first place at 16-4. Jackson one game behind him at 15-5. And Kevin Fraley third place at 14-6. That's the game we're going to bring you now. As Josh to play first, EIORRTZ. Not quite a bingo on this rack. And again, I think we're going to have an interesting decision for Josh. What do I do? How long do I play? Zit, Tiz make a lot of sense. EORT. Zori maybe a little bit longer, but I think the defensive merit alone of Tiz makes it a solid option here, as it has no hooks that I'm aware of.
There are not going to be any emojis.
I want emojis. Josh, did you just draw Solar Ray again? Except with the
Oh my god.
Okay, good. Thanks, Josh. And learn some other words. Why don't you?
It'd
Did
be
Kevin
nice if you
just
posted the names of the
exchange?
commentators. So.
Kevin had
Oh my
Corvid.
god, did we miss that? Yes,
Kevin had
he
Corvid
did
for
exchange.
15. I was
What
so
did he...
sure he was going to play it that I stopped doing commentary.
He's laughing, looking at the camera. He's Solar Ray again.
Kevin's exchange really wasn't that bad here. The simulation says it's around a 4-point mistake over playing Corvid, keeping a D and a G. I think that this is a little bit of an overreaction from Matt. On paper, Corvid looks like a much better play, but it really doesn't work out very well for Kevin a lot of the time. The only benefit is he's scoring 15 points, which is a lot more than 0.
And he's got
Oh, that's an S. That's not even a blank. It looked like a blank to me. Oh my goodness,
yeah,
Josh.
no, it looks like a blank to me as well.
Okay, fine, Josh. Learn some new words.
That's very funny. There he goes, and he's laughing. Maybe not. Kevin not laughing as he draws no vowels from his exchange and a Q.
Yeah. So Kevin missing Corvid, which I think was pretty tough last turn. DG not the best leave, but 15 points. You gotta play it.
Putting it back again, keeping the R.
This time the mistake's a lot bigger. I totally understand Kevin not happy with his draw, knowing he's down 88, needs to bingo as soon as possible, but he also needs to score points. And Reicht is 26 points, exchanging a 0. Even if he bingos next turn, he's not gonna be anywhere close. So yeah, definitely he needed to think a little bit harder here and understand that if he plays Reicht and draws an I, he's likely to get QI down at H1, for example. And yeah, just 26 points. You really have to take the points here. You're already down by a lot. You need to keep some form of scoring pressure going.
Yeah, no, I mean...
No way, Kevin's exchanging again. Play Reicht. It's 26. What? Or play Dorky, set up the M.
I'm not really sure. I mean, he's got clubbed as well through the L, but he's gonna go with Q-Bebs. Yeah, it's pretty far and away the best play. It sets up some possible 8s, but he shouldn't be all too worried about that. 2Es, but one play will block the other, unfortunately. It's not super open beyond that in terms of bingos, but he does play simply POL. Scores pretty well. Unfortunately, Josh now has WoW below it, which is pretty easy, and it comes down within a second. Wow. So wish Josh had a very timely response of WoW, which scored 39 points, I think.
Okay,
row
so
6 Kindar. Yes.
Okay.
That's going to come down pretty quickly. Yeah.
Kevin making
that.
a real word for the second consecutive time. Yeah. I think he's going to play GID underneath Kindar.
Yeah, he's going to play GID. Yeah.
If you want to play equity, technically you could play Degami, Degami, through the E in Solaret. That's a stupid play and you shouldn't do that, but equity says it's actually number 1.
Gids. Oh, no. He's going for... What's he going for?
Mediad is the
Mediads.
same similar
Interesting.
version. It scores one more point, but
That's
holds GT over BT.
I don't like
prefer
that.
Dagami.
I don't like that at all. No.
Nah, I prefer
Especially
Dagami. I
here
think what
as
he's
he
going
has.
for, Mediad does not take an S, so perhaps baiting either a challenge now or an S hook later. I doubt we're going to see that from Kevin, who, by my
No,
understanding, knows a lot
probably
of
not.
words and a lot of things.
So this was the first move that I really had to think about in the game, and I think I ended up making the wrong choice here. So the three plays to consider are Gid for 23, Dagami for 23, and the play that I made, Mediad, for 24. So, as mentioned in the commentary, one of the main reasons for playing Mediad is that there is no hook. So there's no way to access this part of the board immediately, playing downwards, uh, hooking onto Mediad. The only way to go downwards is to play from the A or the D or through the A or the D of Mediad. So that's an extra benefit. Play Mediad over Dagami, which just keeps a much better leave, and also doesn't open this big triple letter spot below the M. So yeah, I think I definitely missed Dagami. So this was, I think, a mistake. There is a little bit of added benefit of Mediad, which allows me to clamp down on the board a little bit harder a lot of the time. So just it benefits plays being played underneath or on top, which will further constrict the board, while it still does open the right side of the board. Another benefit of playing on row 5 is to just try and neutralize words that go eastward from the L and the E. And the biggest threat, one of the biggest threats in the position, is playing through the E as a double-double or through the D as a double-double. So those are the reasons for playing Dagami or Mediad. And I decided that playing Gid, although it seemed very nice for the leave value, ADMT, is very easy to work with most of the time. It's usually not a good idea to give your opponent just a one move chance back into the game. You'd rather let your opponent try to make the best play multiple times in a row rather than give them a clear best play, for example, a bingo from the G, which isn't very likely, just immediately. So what I mean by that is if Kevin has a high scoring play, doesn't even have to be a bingo from this G, he's just going to play it and he doesn't have to really think about the board at all. Whereas playing something like Dagami or Diadem, he probably has to think a little bit harder and then continue to think hard afterwards. Whereas, yeah, playing Gid gives him a very outside chance of just being able to make just one-off plays that will bring him a lot closer to equalizing the game. So that's why I chose Mediad, but I think Dagami is just better. I don't think I have that much control over the board that I can sacrifice so much in terms of not giving back the triple and keeping the G over the T. So I think this was a clear but small mistake on my part.
Again, in not the best situation. He is going to play carry, which gives him a good lead, scores well, and opens up the board to boot. I can't be associated with a anyways, let's talk about the Scrabble as the Dex does get played. Yeah, you know what? After looking at it again, the leave of TNC, and I didn't notice the XED hook. It's getting late. And yeah, that's the best play, probably. Neighbors left the stove on.
Yeah, or so she says.
Common, likely story. Oh, as Kevin makes a pretty bold play there with Aleph, with numerous hooks to axed,
Including one that he's holding on to.
including yeah.
Yeah, he's got the R.
But nothing with the J, right? No, I'm not seeing anything, right?
No, I don't see any good plays for Josh
Yeah.
in response to that. So Kevin going to dodge a bullet here, but he needs to open up that.
But I mean, Tint's pretty good.
Kevin,
Yeah.
you
Oh,
slams his dials on the
he's got
rack
a
and
blank
then
though.
picks
He's
up
got
a
a blank.
blank immediately. See, when you complain,
Hey, has rendered a decent situation for him based on his Tint is going to come down. Pretty clear play. It's going to score 25 points, I believe, if my math is correct.
yeah, 25 points. Good play by Josh. You got to make that spot go away. And while you're not playing off the J now, you weren't going to be able to do anything great with it. Kevin's best plays here to unload those U's. He can play quad or qua from the Q, which are wild plays. After Kevin got bonked by Bunko against Ori earlier, you're probably not wanting to make
As Laud comes down, no.
or a
Quaz
is,
would
is clearing
be
away his best option.
quite bold, but it does give Josh Hodge. Well, he's looking at his tracking sheet, thinking about it. He does have a big lead, but I don't think spread equity makes a difference. He's just thinking about winning percentage, and he puts down the HAEN. Yes.
Yep. I like this play.
Very agreeable, that best play.
Okay,
And
well, yeah, it's a past tense of HAE, which is a weird archaic spelling of have, I believe.
as Josh draws into Yanana, if it doesn't get blocked,
Yeah,
which it
that's going to
likely
be
will.
big.
Oh, well, if Kevin decides to do an 8 with starting from the N or the D, then it will
Kevin
be
has
blocked.
a ridiculous 9 that I've never seen before in my life, and hopefully we'll never see
Really?
again. An F and a blank of a T.
Oh, wow. And this is not a common word at all?
Not at all. The word is
Okay.
FIORITURA. Yeah, I'll probably lose, but I'm probably going to lose no matter what I do. So trade you blank maybe, dinosaur, or if he's randomly
Just something high variance, yeah.
Fioritura, I guess would be a good play too. But at this
If he
point, honestly,
finds
he's going
that,
to roll over and die. Outraise coming down.
and he's gonna play outraise, yeah.
Yeah. Sadness.
And no, I mean, we got some a pretty close board, unfortunately, but you know, things can happen.
Oh yeah, that did happen. But yeah, Jeep is a fun
but
play.
a jar comes
Raj is a
down.
fun
Yeah,
play. A jar, the nice, safe, boring
yeah.
option for him. But there's nothing
And
wrong
no,
with that.
couldn't have said it better myself. Raj would definitely be a very high equity play with the amount of A's left, but not you gotta think about, you know, just win percentage in general. Tile scoring efficient as possible. What I mean by that is just playing off as little tiles while scoring the maximum amount of points as he can, as we see Koi come down instead of GEY.
Okay, that's a play.
Okay.
Not a fan of this play either.
As P comes down, the letter P, I think.
PEE.
That was one of the definitions.
Normal play by Josh. I don't think there's anything to dissect in that position.
With a play like that, which you can understand the logic, but knowing what we know, will not. And he does do GI. Yep.
Sad
Wow.
day. Pierogi, Adagio,
14 points.
Ago, all good ways for you to
And
get back into this game.
reorients, obviously going to come down. It sets up, you know, OSE for himself, but or better. But reorient's just going to put this game to bed.
GIQIS is reasonable. Even just is in that same spot.
He's going to go OSC, play off few tiles again.
Or maybe you can hope that Josh has all consonants and make a play, I don't know, like TIS or something from the T. If Josh has, well, I don't know. You're just dead at this point. Stuck. And Vims leaves one in the bag.
Oh, Vigs instead of Vims. Interesting.
Okay, that's fine too.
Yeah, no, I guess that's fine. Is there a way in which VM is better in this? I mean, if he gets an E, he has move with an O.
He might be thinking
so maybe
HM.
that's. Or yeah, that too.
Together. So if he fishes his N, he'll bingo out with sinuate. Yep, that's what's going to happen. Either sinuate or sinuate. gonna save some spread. Josh shaking his head because he knows now there's nothing he can do about this out bingo. But bingo going to be far too little and far too late. So I think Kevin squandered several opportunities to score points in this game, trying to get a little too aggressive to bingo.
For those of you who didn't see, Kevin found Monopole with a blank through an O, which was and as Shrove comes down, and Kevin will play Sinuate to go out, and that'll be curtains. Josh will have the win and go into tomorrow possibly up to well, what could well, Jackson's at 14-6, right?
Let me take a look at the standings, see if Jackson scores in. No, Jackson versus Ian is still pending, but depending on the outcome of that, a Jackson win puts Josh 1 game clear of Jackson and at least 3 games clear of the rest of the field. A Jackson loss puts Josh 2 games ahead of Jackson, 2 games ahead of Jackson and 3 games ahead of both Kevin and Ian. But Josh now certainly in good position to make those finals tomorrow, as he'll be 2 or 3 games clear of many of the other contenders in this field. It would take a very bad day, probably
maybe cut to some audio here.
Yeah, 2 and 5 or worse. Yeah, we'll cut to the over the board audio, see if we can hear Kevin and Josh in their banter.
Because I was very strongly considering clubbed instead. Let's see anything else. Yeah, no, you needed like 2 bingos in a row.
Use. LAUD, keeping UR.
UR blank.
So no spot for it. MD.
Oh, wow.
And then I draw the other blank.
And you don't want it. You need it
when
later.
I saw the second blank, I thought, oh, that's actually bad.
Yeah, it's bad.
It's like I'm gonna get a real cheap 2 blank bingo when I need to get one and then another.
So all in all, this was a pretty quiet game. I got off to a really good start. It's very hard to come back when I get off to a very good start. So yeah, a good win, and this caps off the day. This is round 21, and I have won every single game on day 3 of the Scrabble Players Championship, and that's that's huge. I've never had a 7-0 day at a nationals, I think, ever. It was pretty unbelievable. I didn't actually realize until someone asked me, "Did you just win every game today?" I was like, "Yeah, I guess I did." And to cap it off, the last 3 games I played were against were repeats against players I had actually lost to earlier in the tournament. So I had lost to Jackson, I had lost to Kevin, and I had lost to who's the other person I played? Ori. Jeez. Yeah, I'm gonna leave that in there just so you guys realize how brain dead I am. Yeah, so 3 games in a row, avenging my results earlier in the tournament. Also the 4th repeat against Noah, but I'd already beaten Noah early in the tournament. So beating Noah Walton, who I thought was the favorite, twice, and then coming back and defeating 3 of the players that had already defeated me. 3 out of the 4 players that had defeated me in the tournament. It's pretty good. Let's look at the scoreboard after this round, so round 21. You can see that, unfortunately, for Ian, he loses the game by 1 point to Jackson. I think he actually had a win in the end game, or a tie in that game. I won't show it on here, but it was a pretty insane game. So Jackson retains his 2nd place spot. He would have anyway, but he's only 1 game behind as well. So still only 1 game ahead of Jackson, but 3 games ahead of Kevin, 4 games ahead of everyone else. So really, really good position going into day 4. It's really seeming to be me and Jackson that are likeliest to enter into the final format after day 4. And my next game is going to be against Rafi Stern at table 1 on the streamed board. And I was feeling pretty good because I have a really good record against Rafi. I just tend to like get lucky against him, or just get some crazy stuff happening, and he maybe makes the wrong decisions. And let's look at the record here. So I just won by 76. So after round 21, my record is 17-4 plus 855. So that is about it. It was really cool. This is a funny game because in the outraised position, it's almost a position where you're supposed to exchange one of your 2 blanks and hope to draw it later. That's about how desperate Kevin was in that position. It just seemed like he was going into the game like feeling like he was going to lose, or feeling like he was getting unlucky. And it felt like a very, very much a psychological victory in this game. He just didn't get off to a good start and really didn't try and pry his way back into the game super well. But enough rambling. I'll see you guys tomorrow for round 22.
That's good.